Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome aboard the Estina. Could you please listen to the following safety announcement? This vessel is equipped with self-inflating, float-free life rafts and life jackets for 180 people. In the unlikely event of an emergency, please follow all instructions from the crew. During the cruise, the boat may rock due to passing power boats or weather conditions. Please take extra care if you're not in your seats. Children must remain seated and supervised at all times, and this is a no-smoking vessel. The toilets are on the lower deck, and the bar is open for tea, coffee, wine, spirits and beers. Thanks for listening and enjoy your cruise.
We're now leaving is the loch's only outlet, running from here into the River Clyde and from there into the Atlantic Ocean. The area is home to an abundance of wildlife, and its history is as rich as the landscape that surrounds these mysterious waters. It's a place where kings have trod and outlaws have roamed. It has inspired writers, musicians and artists for generations. The large building we're passing on our left is Cameron House. Cameron House was built in the 18th century by the Smollett family, shipbuilders and merchants, whose most famous member was the poet and novelist Tobias Smollett. Such was the wealth and influence of the Smollets, the house has welcomed a few famous guests in its time. Former Prime Ministers Winston Churchill and Anthony Eden, as well as Empress Eugenie of France, have all visited here. As was the case with many ancestral homes across Britain, the costs of upkeep, staff and servants became unsustainable for the family. It was sold in 1986, and after extensive additions to the original building, Cameron House was converted into a luxury 5-star hotel. The large house on the hill to the left that you may be able to spot between the trees is Auchendennen House. Auchendennen House was commissioned in 1860 by the Glasgow-based tobacco merchant George Martin and was designed by famed Scottish architect John Burnet. During the Second World War, the house was used as a convalescent home for American servicemen coming from the front in France. After the war, as a goodwill gesture, the house was converted into a youth hostel thanks to a generous donation from American trade unions. The house remained a youth hostel until 2012, when it was bought over and converted into a 27-bedroom private home once again. Legend has it, the house marks the site of the hunting lodge of King Robert the Bruce, who owned much of the land and islands of Loch Lomond. These he used as his private hunting estate, introducing many of the deer and game birds to the islands and surrounding area.
Yeah. Pretty sure I paid for it, you transferred.
As the ice that covered Scotland began to melt and recede, it gouged a deep canyon into the land. In its early years, Loch Lomond was connected to the sea before the land at its southern end rose up, trapping the water, which is now replenished by the burns and rivers of the surrounding hills and mountains. The loch's catchment area for rainfall is 270 square kilometres, and its water level can fluctuate by as much as 3 metres between seasons. The loch and its shores are home to a variety of mammals, including wildcats, deer and goats, as well as around 200 species of birds that inhabit or visit the loch side. The most renowned of these being golden eagles, falcons and ospreys. The loch itself is also home to around 14 species of fish, the most prominent being salmon and sea trout. There is also a rare type of freshwater herring called powan, which can only be found in 3 other lochs in Scotland. Over the centuries, the islands have become home to what was to be kept safe or secret. Monasteries, castles, and even on a number of islands, illicit whisky stills. The largest of these islands we are passing on our left. This is Inchmurren. Inchmurren is 1.5 miles long by half a mile wide and is the largest inland island in Great Britain. The island has been inhabited since the 6th century, when the monks of St Mirren set up a monastery here. Between the trees on the bank you may be able to spot the ruined remains of Lennox Castle. This castle was built by Duncan, the 8th Earl of Lennox, in 1393. The castle was, for a short time, during the latter years of its existence, the residence of Mary Queen of Scots. Much later, another famous visitor to the island was legendary Scottish outlaw Rob Roy MacGregor, who led a night raid on the island, which was by this time a base for government forces. He and his clansmen relieved the island of its cattle, as well as all the island's boats, to prevent pursuit. Today the island is privately owned by the Scott family. It has a small farm, hotel and restaurant, and also houses Scotland's oldest, and quite possibly bravest, naturists club.
On the windows. I know.
I was like, how did it flow?
But it's really
Like we didn't get that one. It's made it glass.
I was doing a lot.
I jump you so much.